Look, the whole media has a problem. You know that. I know that. We've talked about this at length. I mean, for goodness sakes, MSNBC, they had to fire a guy, which, by the way, ABC probably ought to do as well. They had to fire a guy, Matthew Dowd, someone I used to work with at Bloomberg the other day, because Matthew thought it would be tasteful. I don't know what he thought. I mean, maybe he wasn't thinking. I don't even want to play the sound again for you because it's so disgusting and it just makes me livid. But he effectively was justifying this violence against Charlie Kirk because of Charlie Kirk's words. Because apparently in Matt Dowd's little world and over there at MSNBC, they don't actually believe in the First Amendment or freedom of speech. You know what Charlie would say? Charlie would say, you bring it on. I don't care what somebody's saying. They have a right to say it. Well, they have a right to say it. I wouldn't necessarily say they have a right to spew disinformation over on ABC News. And I think Charlie would agree with me on that because there's a responsibility when you're using federal airwaves. So the FCC has every right at this point in time to say, we're pulling the plug, you're going streaming. You can go over there on Disney Plus, right? Because that's working out really well for you. Anyway, COMCAST, they issued an apology. You know the drill. All the executives over there, oh my gosh, this Matthew Dowd situation. Well, what did we do? We got rid of him. We ended our association with a contributor who made an unacceptable and insensitive comment about this horrific event. I'll tell you, Bob Iger, Disney, ABC, you ought to be doing the same with Jimmy Kimmel and that Matt guy. All right, you ought to be looking at this. Matt Dowd, of course. Oh, we got a few Matts. Matt Dowd doesn't get it. He somehow thinks that the MSNBC just folded to the right-wing media mob. And he may have some support, shall we say, from one Rachel Maddow and all that, because Rachel Maddow went on and did her once-a-week show that she makes $25 million for, not for long. I'm telling you, once this company gets spun off, that's not going to happen anymore. She's either going to go bye, or they're going to reduce her to, I don't know, what's fair? Let's be generous and say we'll give her 2 or 3. It's one show a week, 1 hour. Okay? Anyway, so I kind of wonder if she's trying to get fired because she didn't even talk about Charlie. I looked and I looked and I looked, and then I read somewhere that somebody found 22 seconds. I'm sure she was silent for most of the 22 seconds. I don't know what exactly she said, but she did double down on her hate for Donald Trump, which is, by the way, guys, part of this entire problem, right? Watch.
Help. Trump is now allying us with the world's dictatorships, with his mentor Putin first among them.
Unbelievable.
I mean, but like I said, there's no surprise about what he's doing.
I'll tell you.
There's no open.
The big surprise is when she's going to get the heave-ho, because you know what? Management is not going to go for it anymore. Management has given a strict instruction for everybody to be much more sensitive. And what does Rachel do? She doubles down on her insensitivity. So Jimmy Kimmel, Matthew the reporter, Rachel Maddow. Like, this is not going to fly, guys. It's just not going to fly. And I can sit here and warn you and tell you until I'm blue in the face. But you know what? Once you're out on the street looking for a job, maybe then you'll realize how serious this actually is. CNN, same kind of situation going on there. I mean, for goodness sakes, you have some host on their 10 p.m. show trying to, again, justify this. And this is what kills me. Like, how dare you in any way, shape, or form ever? I mean, like, where's the humanity? What has happened? What has happened to the media? I mean, I'm horrified because I know a lot of these people and I've worked in this industry and I don't know what's happened to them. I mean, we can say TDS, but it's more than that. There's something very strange going on when you're going to sit there and justify violence. I'm sorry. And then you're going to try and say, oh, no, it's the right to. No. I've looked at the polls. You've looked at the polls. I mean, YouGov just came out with one just the other day. And what did it tell us? The majority of people that are willing to resort to violence, they're on the left, they're young, and they're dangerous. Watch.
This is about punishing them being the left, them being his political opponents. That actually, I think, is surprising to a lot of Americans because that's not typically what you would expect to hear from the White House after.
Well, let's talk about some polling that he used to justify those comments before he made them on TV. YouGov came out with a poll 3 days ago talking about how each side feels about violence and support of political deaths. Liberals, 16% believe it's okay to feel joy when your political opponent is killed. Liberals, very liberals, 24%. Conservatives, 4%. Very conservatives, 3%. Justifying violence, Very liberal people have 25% answered yes, it's okay, you're justified that you should do violence against your political opponents. Liberals, 17%, conservatives, 8%, and very conservatives, 3%. That means it is 6 to 1 times more likely in response to this poll on the left. Now, I'm not saying there's exclusivity on the left. I'm not saying that. But there is certainly a problem where 6 times the amount of Republicans believe that it's okay to feel joy when your political opponent is killed, murdered, whatever, attacked, and that 6 to 1 believe that they are okay in justifying violence against political opponents. That's a problem. That's a cancer within the movement.
Yeah, I think so. And that's a huge problem, right? And how has that been allowed? I mean, I have my ideas. I think after 10 years of listening to everyone on the left just call everyone on the right a Nazi, a fascist, a racist, a this, a that. I mean, it's like, whoa, we got to take them out. I mean, you think back, and guys, you know what? I played this soundbite for you the other day. In 2018, like, I knew Charlie well. He used to come on my show once a week, if not twice a week, I think, eventually, over at Fox. And so we go back, years. I mean, I want to say I put him on the air for the first time like 10 years ago. I was like, wow, the kid's good. Let's get him back. Let's get him back a lot. And in 2018, he was at breakfast, actually, with Candace Owens, who was working for Turning Point at the time. I believe they were in Philadelphia. And he came out of that diner with her. Somebody had signaled in, oh, Candace and Charlie are here. And they walk outside and they are surrounded with about 50 Antifa people who were being extremely violent, aggressive with them. And he came on to tell me about this. And it was shortly after, of course, Maxine Waters had been calling for everybody to get chased down in a restaurant, a department store, wherever they were. And so this was starting to happen. Remember when Sarah Huckabee Sanders was forced out of a restaurant with her in-laws there because they wouldn't serve her because she was Sarah Huckabee Sanders? This was all starting back then. And there were these calls for, it doesn't matter because he's not our president and these people are horrible and so they deserve it, etc. And it just festered and festered. And now we get to the point where a wonderful 31-year-old father of 2 with his whole life ahead of him has been shot dead? Like, that's where we're going with this? I don't think so. Okay, enough is enough. So you know what? Comcast's doing the right thing. The bosses are trying to say, hey, tone it down. Where's ABC? They got Kimmel going on and spouting lies. They get their reporter trying to make you feel the humanity of the relationship between the roommate and the killer, the suspected killer. My gosh.